It is our pleasure having you for the news this Tuesday, July 14, 2020. In the essentials in Africa, international bodies like the United Nations, European Union, African Union, and the West African Regional Bloc ECOWAS have called for calm in Mali after at least 4 civilians were killed in a security crackdown on anti-government protests. They condemn the government for what they call its use of lethal force in the context of maintaining public order and invite all stakeholders to exercise restraint. They urge the Malian government to release protest leaders, which yielded fruit as they were released on Monday. President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta is facing mounting wave of protest triggered by the Constitutional Court's decision to overturn about 30-seat results in the long-delayed parliamentary poll held in March and April, benefiting several members of the President Keïta's party. Five months after Ivory Coast Vice President Daniel Kablan-Dunkang handed his resignation letter, the presidency officially declared him free on Monday, just days after the death of the country's Prime Minister Amadou Gon Coulibaly. Dunkang is leaving for reasons of personal convenience, Patrick Ashi, a top aide to Ouattara, said. In addition of being vice president since January 2017, Dunkang, 77 years, has also served as foreign minister and prime minister. In a statement, the president praised Daniel Kablan as a great servant of the state, a man of duty and of commitment. But his resignation has further unsettled the political outlook of Ivory Coast with the death of Prime Minister handpicked by Ouattara to run in October's presidential election that has left the ruling party scrambling to find a replacement candidate, a process likely to reveal internal divisions. South Sudan's effort to fight the spread of COVID-19 has suffered a blow following the resignation of a number of frontline healthcare workers. 11 healthcare workers resigned due to a combination of social stigma and family pressure. They have expressed concerns that they may bring the virus home and end up as sources of contamination to their communities. Among the 11 are 4 clinical officers, 3 nurses, and 4 hygienists. Dr. Adu Sobushishe said during the commissioning of an infectious disease unit. On Sunday, the Ministry of Health assured it will mobilize psychiatrists to give counseling to frontline healthcare workers and their families dealing with COVID-19 related stigma and fatigue. The country, already struggling with the healthcare system, has so far 2,145 confirmed cases, 4 deaths and 1,135 recoveries as of July, according to the African Center for Disease Control. South Africa has returned to a ban on the sale of alcohol and reinstated a nighttime curfew across the nation barely 6 weeks after measures were lifted. President Cyril Ramaphosa, in a televised address, said top health officials warn of impending shortages of hospitals' beds and medical oxygen as South Africa reaches a peak of COVID-19 cases expected between the end of July and September. According to statistics from Johns Hopkins University, the country's rapid increased cases has made it one of the world centers of the disease, as it is ranked as the 9th country most affected by the coronavirus. Moving out of the African continent, European Union ministers met face-to-face on Monday to discuss deteriorating relations with Turkey and the bloc's concerns over the new security law in Hong Kong. Greece's foreign minister is pushing for a list of possible sanctions against Ankara for violating the sovereign rights of Greece and Cyprus over energy exploration in the Eastern Mediterranean. Returning to Brussels for the first time since coronavirus lockdown restrictions were lifted in Belgium, ministers tasked Brussels with coming up with a way to lower tensions with Turkey. It was agreed that Joseph Borrell would come up with a list of targeted measures against Turkey in August, which will be activated only in case Turkey abuses Greece's sovereignty right. Turkey also says that the EU naval operations in the Eastern Mediterranean Sea are hindering the support of the UN-backed Government of National Accord in Tripoli, which has received military backing from Ankara. The EU says its aim is to hold up the arms embargo to prevent weapons getting into Libya in a bid to halt further violence. France today celebrates Bastille Day, but this year's usual show and parade are said to be a much more muted affair following the coronavirus pandemic. For the first time since 1945, the French authorities have called off the parade at the Champs-Élysées in Paris that usually marks the storming of the Bastille fortress on July 14, 1989, that launched the French Revolution. Just 2,000 soldiers, half of the usual number, will gather at the Palais de la Concorde. The battle against the virus, which has claimed more than 30,000 lives in France, was the main focus of events in Paris as Macron highlighted France's successes to celebrate the heroes of the COVID-19 pandemic. President Macron also addressed measures to revive economic growth that has fallen as a result of the pandemic. More details of this in our subsequent edition. And still concerning the coronavirus pandemic, the World Health Organization has reiterated its warning that the coronavirus pandemic raging around the globe will worsen if countries fail to adhere to strict healthcare precautions. Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said in a virtual briefing from Geneva that, I quote, "Let me be blunt, too many countries are headed in the wrong direction. The virus remains a public enemy number one. If basics are not followed, the only way this pandemic is going to go is worse and worse and worse," end of quote. Global infections stands at 13 million with more than 500,000 deaths according to Reuters telling. The United States and Brazil are the worst hit countries. North Macedonia is set to hold parliamentary elections on Wednesday, the very first since it changed its name. Election due to take place on Wednesday will see a contest between two broad coalitions that broadly have the same objective: European Union membership. Zoran Zaev, the Social Democrat leader who was Prime Minister until January, is hoping voters will return him to office on the record of his first term. Mike Koski, the country's VMRO's leader, is campaigning with a distinctly message appealing in particular to voters who are disappointed by the country's change of name. Voters will hear the polls during an alarming spike of COVID-19 cases in the small Balkan nation. And we end in Kosovo, where the former army leader and now President Hashim Thaçi was questioned in The Hague by prosecutors who have already prepared an indictment accusing him of wartime crimes. If the indictment is confirmed by a judge, Thaçi faces trial in Kosovo specialist chambers in The Hague. He, however, denied the wrongdoing and has said he will step down as president if he is put on trial. Over 100 other former Kosovo Liberation Army fighters have been interviewed by The Hague prosecutors who are probing allegations including murder, torture, and illegal detentions. A group of Albanians protested against the impeachment in front of the Specialist Chambers building, holding placards that read, "This is racism," singing and shouting the UCK, the Albania acronym for the KLA. That's it. Thank you for choosing the news to be informed in Africa and the world. Don't go away until we come your way. Do take care and stay safe.